Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, I'd just like to say I've started a new Discord server in which I'm hoping to build into a little editing community in which we can all get together, discuss editing and help each other out. So the link for that is in the description below. So feel free to join that. It'd be great to see you guys around there. And without further ado, let's get started. So today we're going to be looking at the best way to render out your game edits to beat YouTube compression. I'm sure you've all witnessed it. You finished your edit, you rendered it out, it looks great on your computer. You upload it to your channel on YouTube and then you watch it back and it doesn't look very good. It looks pixelated, blurry, and all those fine details that you put into your edit have just disappeared. So today, I'm going to show you how to beat that. First things first, it's worth mentioning that I do all of my edits in 1080p, so therefore my composition is 1080p. Don't worry too much about the frame rate. I edit at a slightly lower one to get that more cinematic feel, but this also works if you're rendering at 60 FPS, so don't worry about that too much. So imagine this clip's my edit. I'm all finished and I'm ready to render out the clip. So first things I do is I create a new composition, and now I'm going to want to upscale my clip so that when it's compressed on YouTube, it maintains that quality because it's being made smaller by the YouTube compression engine. So I'm going to basically render out my clip in 2K quality rather than 1080p. So to do this, I make a new composition, and I'm just going to name this upscale. And I'm going to render it out at a 2560 width by a 1440 height. And now I've got a new composition called upscale. Now you just want to drag your edit composition into this new composition, and you'll notice that obviously it is a lot smaller. So built into After Effects is a plugin called the Detail Preserving Upscale. Apply this to your edit composition and then just press the Fit to Comp Width button, and you'll now notice that your edit composition is the same resolution as the upscale. So the next step is just to simply make sure that your composition, the upscale composition, is the same duration as your edit is. So for instance, if your edit was only this length, make sure that you trim the upscale composition to that length, because otherwise when you render this out, you're going to have a much bigger file size and you're going to have a lot of blank space that you then have to go in, edit later, and you could potentially then lose the quality yet again. So yeah, just make sure that you've got your composition, your upscale composition, trimmed to the same length as your edit composition. We are now ready to render out our edit. So within After Effects, you're just going to go to File, Export, and Add to Render Queue. Now this is going to allow us to render out within After Effects itself. It can take a little bit longer than, say, using Adobe Media Encoder, but doing it this method, we will get a complete lossless quality on our outputted video. So you just want to make sure that best settings is chosen here, and in the output module that lossless is selected. These are my settings by default, so I'd assume that they'd be the same for you. And now where it says output to, click on not yet specified, and make sure AVI is selected, and then here you can just name your edit. So I'm just going to put render tutorial and hit save, and then we're going to hit the render button, and then After Effects will start rendering out your clip. Okay, so once After Effects has finished rendering out your edit, you're going to notice that in the location you saved your video file in, you're going to have a very large AVI file. So for this short clip, I've literally got an 8.63 gigabyte AVI file. So that's going to be far too large to upload to YouTube. So we need to compress the file size and retain quality. So for that, we're going to require another piece of software. So we can now close down After Effects, and you're going to need to download Handbrake, which is handbrake.fr. It's totally free to download. Get that downloaded, installed, and I'll see you in the next part going through how to use Handbrake. Okay, so now that you have Handbrake installed, all you're going to want to do is obviously open Handbrake and then just drag and drop the AVI file that you just rendered out from After Effects into Handbrake. And you'll be presented with this page. So now what I do is by the preset drop-down menu, select that, go to Production and then Production Max. And then go to Dimensions and make sure that the width and height is 2560 by 1440. If it's not, just change it to make that the sizes. And then under cropping, choose Custom and make sure that all of the values are 0. Then you just need to go down to Browse and choose where you want to save your final file. So I'm just going to save this in the same place as I save my AVI. Make sure that MP4 is selected down here, and I'm just going to call it render tutorial, and put your full stop and make sure that your file extension is MP4, because YouTube just seems to prefer that to the M4V file extension. And then select save. Now all you have to do is press the start encode button. Once Handbrake's finished the encode, you can close Handbrake down, and you'll now see that you have an MP4 file. And as you can see, it's a hell of a lot smaller than the AVI file was. And by using that method, you've lost no quality from the AVI. So you've rendered out a completely lossless render of your edit in the higher resolution. And you can just check that in the details, that you can see that the resolution is higher. So now you can go ahead, upload that to YouTube. It will take a little while longer than normal for YouTube to process the high definition version. But once that's completed, you'll be able to watch it back and you'll notice that the quality is a lot better. So I hope that this tutorial has helped some of you out on how to render out with the best settings to maintain quality on YouTube. Like and subscribe if this has helped. Don't forget, brand new Discord server, link is in the description. Come along, join, and let's try and get a nice little editing community going. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.